Stephanie Mielke here, aka Keto Mom, or often called mom, sis, Steffi, daughter, wife, aunt, and friend. Just like many of you, I carry a lot of titles. My favorite title is mom. I should probably say wife, which takes a lot of my time. But let's be honest, if you want to do something and do it well, you will make the time for it. Commitment is hard because we find ourselves overcommitted, but when you practice prioritizing, you will find out what is actually important and what you can let go. With the Keto Mom podcast, you will learn together how to manage our time, commit to the most important things in life, and I will equip you with the tools you need to feel qualified each step of the way. My name is Stephanie Mielke, and welcome to the Keto Mom Secrets podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to the Keto Mom page. My name is Stephanie, and we're going to dive into one of my most favorite conversations. I say that because it was one of the conversations, and this topic is something that completely changed my life. It was probably 8 years ago, around this time, that I had the awareness of this conversation and completely shifted my mindset, the way I handled things, not in perfection, but out of I had no idea this even existed. No clue. And so this conversation that I'm about to have, well, we're going to have it at a very basic level. It's in our book, and our book is called Awareness Revolution. And what we're doing on the Keto Mom page and what we have done over the course of 2 years is go through books, help you with your mindset, give you something to think about. This one thought. And I've talked about it on here before, but I'm talking about it again because it's something that I think people, number one, need to be aware of. They need to be reminded of. And until you catch it and then apply it, it doesn't work for you. But when you catch it, you understand it, and you apply it, it can shift so many things in your life. And so before we dive into the conversation of EQ, Emotional Quotient, and you might be going, what does that mean? I'm going to tell you. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm tuning in from Minnesota. I'm sitting out on my back deck looking over the water. If you've been following me for a while, you know my life. I'm a homeschool mom, 4 girls, enjoying our summer. The last week I've been super stuffed up, but I'm feeling some relief. So praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. All right. So Keto Mom page, recipes, how-tos, get started, help you on your keto journey, and mindset in the mornings. So if you're brand new, you can always go to ketomomsecrets.com. ketomomsecrets.com. You can click on how to get started. Book club. I'm about to pack up some ketones. Actually should do a live while I'm doing that, but I drink ketones every day. Ketones are my fuel of choice. You say you get up in the morning and you need coffee, I need ketones. So they're pretty great. I've got trial packs, book club, how to get started, all of the things. The number one thing that I think is super important is having an awareness of just how your body operates, an awareness of different environments and things in your life. This word awareness to me is super important because I feel like in a very nice way, there's a lot of people that don't have awareness in lots of areas of their life. So the book that my husband and I are writing is right here, and it's called Awareness Revolution. And instead of going through other people's books, which I have for 2 years, we're going to go through our book. Now, my husband and I work on it together. He will come back and do some lives with me. We have I'm not going to share all the details. Our family is making a pretty big shift. And something that we're super excited about. It's a huge faith step. It is going to completely change our life in a lot of different ways. And when everything is finalized and written out, I'll share it with you. But we do have I have something new that our family is taking an adventure on. I probably say that a lot. It has nothing to do with writing books and my husband and our podcast called The Happy Couple. It has nothing. It's gonna be big. I'll let you know. All right. Are you ready to dive into the morning mindset? Here's my favorite conversation. So actually, in the book, This is chapter 8. We're skipping chapter 7. We did chapter 6 yesterday. If you're following along, chapter 6, we talked yesterday about mentors and guidance. Chapter 7 really goes along with mentorship, but we talk about mentors. We talk about we talk about self-reflection, lots of different things. I'm not going to actually cover that. Brittany. Oh, Brittany, you're not supposed to guess. You know, because I've been talking about it. Brittany may have just spilled the beans. I'm not going to give you the details yet. All right. Britt. I don't know if I can call you Britt. My sister's name is Brittany, so I call her Britt. Okay. I'm going to stay focused. So, this is chapter 8, and we call chapter 8, it's the power of communication, but understanding EQ. So, let me just say it like this. Britt, I'm totally kidding. Most people, if they've been listening to me for years, they know I talk a lot about lots of things, so. And I'm totally teasing. All right. You have an IQ, right? How smart you are, your intelligence number. Did you know that there are a lot of conversations, there are a lot of studies, there are a lot of different things based on EQ, AQ, and there's other ones as well, right? So EQ stands for your emotional quotient, right? EQ. AQ stands for your adaptability. We're not going to talk about that today. We're only talking about EQ. How well do you handle your emotions? EQ is like, well, let me tell you the story of what shifted my entire life, and then I hope you can hear and understand, because here in the book, like, EQ is a very sciencey term to me. It's got a lot of science behind it, talks about emotions. I'm taking the EQ aspect from a very basic level of just helping people. Let me tell you the titles that we have of our book. I hate when I say when I'm talking, so please forgive me. Okay, so the role of emotional intelligence, EQ. Now, I'm not a scientist, but we're going to talk about the roles of your emotions, how you handle them, empathy. We talk about emotional regulation, and we talk about even like social awareness, like when you walk into a room and you can just feel emotions. So the book that we're putting together covers it pretty well. You can get books on this. Here's how I understand it from a mom's point of view and how it was used on me, and it shifted everything. So, years ago, about 8 years ago, I was one day having an emotional meltdown, right? So it had to do with business, a situation, things weren't going well, and it was just, when things don't go well and you just want to react, you want to throw a fit, you want to send a text message, you want to blame, you want to shame. So I have a big mouth, and my mouth sometimes gets me in trouble. So in the past, I wouldn't think before I spoke, and I would easily send a text message, or I would easily point fingers to make sure people knew, listen, that was your fault. Why aren't you fixing it? I worked out of my emotions. So we were having a business conversation, and I sent a text message over to our CEO, and I was crabby. I was emotional. I did not think before I spoke, and I left the most harsh message to our CEO. And I was so proud of myself because I was so ticked off at what was going on, right? And all of a sudden my phone started to ring, and I panicked, because it's one thing to send a text message. We all know. It's interesting, right? People can fight on social media. They can share their emotions. Emotions run high. They say whatever they want. If you were if you didn't like me, the likelihood of you saying something to me hurtful in front of me is very different than the people that send me messages on Keto Mom page with some hate. And you might be like, Stephanie, do you get hate from the Keto Mom page? Oh, I sure do. Right? So I sent a text message over, and my phone started to ring, and I panicked. And I was like, I'm not going to answer the phone. And I threw my phone to my husband, and my husband's like, you sent the message. I'm not answering the phone. So after we played hot potato with the phone for about 5 or 6 times, I answered the phone. And nervous and scared because I knew what I said was out of line. My emotions were high. And my CEO said, hey, do you have a second to talk? And I was like, yes, I do. And I will tell you, over the course of an hour, he gave me the awareness of this conversation around EQ. And he helped me understand that right at that moment, I did not have control over my emotions. And that just because things happen in life doesn't mean you need to lose it and react in an instant, and you don't even know the words and your choices and where it will take you if you don't have an understanding of this conversation around EQ. So I want you to know something. You have an EQ. How well do you handle your emotions? If you had to rate it, let's just say 1 to 5. If you had to rate yourself from 1 to 5, 5 being like, I know how to handle my emotions. I know how to take a breath. I know how to think before I speak. I handle things well at a high level. That's a 5. Number 1 being like me, where you shot off a not very good message to a very important person. Listen, we're all important, but like when you talk to a CEO like that, I was out of line. So 1 to 5, if you had to rate yourself, and you're playing full out on this live, rate yourself on your EQ. Now here's how he answered me. He said, Stephanie, did you collect all of the facts before you sent me the message that you sent me, right? It was a business conversation. And I said, no. I saw one thing. I instantly reacted, and I sent a message. He goes, I'm going to teach you something. Did you know you reacted and you could have responded if you just learn about your emotions and you understand triggers of why you act a certain way? This could be in your parenting, in your marriage, at work. It could be lots of different situations, right? So here's what I want you to understand, and I'll just give you a couple words. So now you have the awareness of, first of all, you have an EQ, just like you have IQ, right? We've got our IQ, we've got EQ. EQ is how you handle your emotions, and your emotions can take you down a really nasty road, or it can take you down a road where you have more understanding and you handle it with ease. So he said, I want you to hear a couple words. That's it. He goes, first of all, before you ever react to a situation, parenting, listen, I've got teenagers, and I've had to use this many times in your marriage, in business, with family relationships, in any situation. He goes, I want you to tell yourself, before you do anything, take a breath and say, I need to collect the facts. I actually took notes when he was telling me this, and I wrote, collect the facts. Now, that one phrase has changed my life forever. I collect the facts. So before I decide to spew my mouth or send a text message, even respond to my teenagers or my husband or my sisters or anybody, I learned to collect the facts in business. Like, there have been a lot of collecting facts these last couple months in our business. And so that one phrase, like before I decide to yell or scream or kick or cry or throw a fit, I'm like, I need to collect the facts, because just because I see something doesn't mean that's the truth. Just because I hear something. Listen, people's feelings aren't facts. Your feelings aren't facts. Did you know that? So he said, collect the facts. And then he told me what was going on. And I went, oh my goodness, I didn't know that, right? I didn't know. And then he goes, here's what I need you to know. Here's the other words if you're taking notes. I want you to write EQ, collect the facts, and then write react. Underneath react, write respond. So Stephanie, you always have two options. You can either react or you can respond. You can react in that moment. You can react in the moment with your teenager or your boss or your employees or the person driving next to you that's honking, or the person that's not following the traffic signs, or the person at the grocery store that's taking forever. Like, we have endless number of opportunities to react or respond all day long, because we are people and we're around people. Whether you're on social media with people or in people. We are human beings. and we have emotions. And we can either A, react, or we can B, respond. Reacting means you're not thinking about it, you're going to throw a fit, you're going to probably react poorly, or you can tell yourself, oh, I can respond when it's appropriate. I can collect the facts, I can take a breather. Guess what? We live in this instant society where we think we need answers right now, we need to respond right now, we need to do all of these things right now, and we don't have to. Right? Have you ever sent a text message and then you were waiting for somebody because it's like a microwave and you're ticked off when you don't see the bubbles at the bottom because you need an answer right now? And of course nobody answers their phone, because why would we do that? That's awkward. We should be able to text, right? Like, we have set ourselves up to feel like we need an answer right now. Guess what? You don't have to. When you are going to respond to your kids because they made a poor decision, teenagers, or vice versa, or you made a poor decision, or whatever the case may be, our children or our spouse or even our boss or our employees don't need an answer right now. You can easily go, hey, you know what? I'm going to collect the facts. I am not adult enough, or I am not mature enough to have this conversation. Let me just respond when it's appropriate. Did you know that you can do that? Even with our kids. When I am feeling not well, and when I know that I'm going to say something not right, when I know that I might say something that might hurt instead of help, I will tell my kids, hey, we'll talk about this in a little bit. I need to collect the facts, I need to gather my thoughts, and I will respond when it's appropriate. I am telling you, the awareness around this EQ conversation shifted my entire life. Because I looked at situations and people and environments and emotions differently. And I would walk myself through those phases. I would walk myself through, all right, I need to collect the facts. When I'm feeling frustrated, when I'm feeling angry, when I want to tell somebody what I think, when I want to point fingers, I legitimately I say this to myself. I say, EQ, Stephanie, EQ. By the way, we've taught this to our kids, and we'll call each other on it. We'll be like, you should watch your EQ. We'll be like EQ, and that's like a phrase that'll go, everybody will be like this. All right. I'll tell myself, Stephanie, collect the facts. And then I'll say, do I want to react or respond? I want to respond. Do I have a response right now, or should I wait for a little bit? This one thing could change so many areas of your life. It can change your relationship with your kids, your spouse. It can change the way you see food. Like when you find out you're triggered through somebody says they eat out of their emotions. Once you have an awareness around your emotions and you go, oh my goodness, I'm feeling frustrated right now. What do I do when I'm frustrated? I'm actually going to sit back. I'm going to actually reflect why I'm frustrated, and I'm not going to go to the candy jar. I'm not reacting out of emotions. I'm going to respond when appropriately. Maybe I need to go for a walk. Maybe I should read a book. Maybe I need to call somebody. I promise you, and in the book we go into more detail, but I actually haven't read a lot of EQ books because they're very sciencey to me and I don't like how they explain it. The best way that EQ was ever explained to me was collect the facts and I can either respond or react. And that's all I needed to know. And for 8 years, I would say, for sure, people that are the closest to me would say, for sure, I can handle things very, very calmly. I have people that ask me how I have such a great relationship with our teenage daughters. We've got 4 girls. I say I love parenting teens. This is the best phase ever, but I love all phases of parenting because this one conversation, EQ, I've learned to respond when appropriately. Now listen, I'm not perfect, and there are very, 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 I still have those times where I react and then I have to go and apologize. That's another conversation, right? But if you're just looking at EQ from a perspective of how you handle emotions, and a lot of you, just so you know, eat out of emotion. So if you can have the awareness of your emotions and how you handle them, and then the triggers that cause you to be angry, frustrated, lonely, all of those things, and then you find yourself eating, then you can go, oh my goodness, I need to collect the facts. Why am I feeling this way? What is something different I can do to respond instead of react and eat? That might save you 20 pounds, right? So let's wrap this baby up with a bow. At the end of every chapter, I'm reading through our questions because my husband writes these, and I'm like, man, you really do need to read a majority of this chapter to understand some of the questions. But if you want the questions just to read over them, I don't have all the chapters ready yet. Hopefully our book will be ready early fall. I'm shooting for September after we make all the edits. Post PDF in the comments and I'll send you the questions. Otherwise, listen, as always, I have recipes here at ketomomsecrets.com. I share recipes every day. Every single day for the rest of this month, I'm giving a keto tip in the afternoon, so come back to the page. This afternoon, I'll be drawing for another name. So anybody that shared yesterday's video, yesterday we talked, actually, I'll address it later today. I do an afternoon live. I don't have the exact time, but you can come back on the page. I should get an exact time just because I know it would help, but I don't. So you can come back and watch the replay, post PDF below. And then if you press the share button, I always say sharing is caring. It invites people to join us on the Keto Mom page, but your name goes into a drawing for this afternoon's giveaway, which is ketones. So press the share button. You have to let me know that you shared in the comments. Otherwise, reach out with questions. You can send me a message. You can ask any question below. It doesn't have to do with EQ. It can be like, how do I track my net carbs? I don't care what the questions are. I'll send you a message. If you want ketones, let me know. Post trial below. Otherwise, thank you for tuning in. Your presence matters. I will talk to you on the next live. I appreciate you. Or if you're in my inbox, I talk to you there. So have a wonderful morning. Bye, everybody.